Hello and welcome to Vitality Vibe. Tomorrow is my friend Martin's birthday, so I am going to make a lemon and lime avocado cheesecake. Now, when I bring this with me to barbecues during the summer and people hear avocado, they're like, their noses shrivel up straight away. But when they taste it, they are so pleasantly surprised at how yum this recipe is. So I got this recipe from this Happy Pear, the blue book. And I'm just going to tweak it slightly because my friend is diabetic. So I'm going to try to keep the sugar really low in this recipe. And I've already made the base just to save us a bit of time and a bit of noise with the blender. So your base is 300 grams of nuts, 100 grams of dates, 2 tablespoons of cacao powder, and 2 tablespoons of melted coconut oil. So if you're allergic to nuts, you could use here sunflower and pumpkin seeds instead of your nuts. And the nuts that I used, I just grab whatever is in the press. So today I put in almonds and walnuts and cashew nuts. So the walnuts can be a little bit bitter. So just don't have the majority of it walnuts, kind of mix it up a little bit. So what you do is you put everything into your processor. So put your nuts in, blend them up, then add in your coconut oil, your cacao powder, your dates, blend them up, and then you'll be left with this nice crumbly mixture. And what you do then is you just press it down into the bottom of your pre-prepared loaf tin. So I've just put a little bit of that greaseproof paper into the bottom of this tin. So that's the base of your cheesecake. Really, really simple and very nutritious because of all the nuts. I used medjool dates here, so it was only like 5 or 6 dates went in. So dates can be high in sugar, but because there's only 5 or 6 of them in there, I'm not too worried about it. And because they're in there with the nuts, the fats and protein in the nuts would slow down the absorption of the sugar from the dates. Okay, so that's your base. Now I'm going to do the cheesecake topping with you. Okay, so first off, we have 3 avocados. So when you go to the shop to buy avocados, buy like 5 or 6 of them because you're guaranteed 1 or 2 of them is going to be a bit off. And you don't want to have any of the brown bits that you'd sometimes find in an avocado because you want this to look lovely and fresh and bright and green. So get your avocados, you're going to throw them in there. Alrighty, get the end of it in. And then what else do we have? So I have in here the zest on juice of 1 lime. And then I've got the zest of 2 lemons and the juice of 1 lemon. Just to confuse you. So the recipe calls for the zest of 1 lime and the zest and the juice of 2 lemons, but I kind of like getting in the lime juice as well. So I've done the zest of the lime, the zest of the lemon, and then both lemon and lime juice. And then I'm going to pop them in here as well. Just get all them out. And then I've got my 12 tablespoons of melted coconut oil. And then this recipe calls for 9 tablespoons of honey as well. Now when I'm normally making this just for myself, I'd only put in maybe 5. Today I've put in 3, and then I'm going to try adding a few drops of stevia. So that's, or stevia, whatever way you want to pronounce it. But what stevia does is it's a natural sweetener, and it amplifies the natural sweetness of whatever is in your mixture. So it means that you could use less honey by putting a couple of drops of stevia. I don't know what way to say it. Anyway, the thing with stevia is you need to be careful as well. If you add in too much, it actually makes things taste bitter. So we're going to go with the less is more approach. Okay, I'm going to put in just like 2 drops of this, and then I'm going to taste it and see how I go. I might still need to add in more of the honey. We'll just wing it and see. Okay, so in we go with our honey and our coconut oil. And then we want to put in here just a pinch of salt because salt brings out, you know, that lovely sweetness. So I actually do 2 pinches of salt. Again, the recipe just calls for 1, but I kind of like getting that little hit of sea salt just every so often when I'm munching on this. Now, what else have we to put in there? That's it. Let's blend this up now and see how we go. So what you're going to do here is blend and then adjust according to your taste buds. So if it's not sweet enough, we can add in some more honey. Like I said, the original recipe calls for 9 tablespoons. I tend to stick with just 5. Okay, so I'm going to try this. I'll actually use a fresh spoon. And I'd imagine it's not going to be very sweet because I only put in those 3 tablespoons of honey. I mean, it's edible for me, but my taste buds, my taste buds are a bit funny because I've been trying to eat healthily for years. And I think most people would find that there's not enough sweetness in there. So let's try the stevia and see how we get on. Okay, we're just gonna go 1, 2, 3 drops. Color of this is just amazing. Okay, fresh spoon, so I'm not double dipping. I have this one here. I'll do a fresh spoon now and see. Do you know what? I think that's fine. Like you want it to taste, you want to get that citrusy flavor from it. I'm going to do one more taste test just to be sure because, like I said, it is his birthday. We don't want to deprive him completely. But I think it's going to be okay. Yeah, that's 100%. Oh, I'm so delighted. So just by putting in those 3 drops of stevia, it means that I've really cut down on the tablespoons of honey that this recipe calls for. Which is great. Like I said, if you're making it for a diabetic, you want to try to keep that sugar as low as possible. So we'll just scoop this out now. Look at the beautiful color. I mean, I just love this. And I must say, this is a favorite every summer. So I tend to just make it in the summertime because of that zestiness. But every time I make it and bring it somewhere, originally people are horrified that I'm trying to feed them avocado as a dessert. And then they get tasting it and they're converted and they're looking for the recipe. So we're just going to pop this in on top and then we'll smooth it all over. And of course, with any good recipe, you get to lick the bowl as well at the end. I'll not do it on camera. I'll wait until I'm off the camera before I do that. Okay, so we'll just get as much of that in as we can. Okay, and then you just smooth that over your base. And then this will go into the fridge for 2 hours to set. Okay, I'm going to smooth this over. And again, you could always, you know, if you're serving this up to someone and they don't find it sweet enough, you could always just put like a little drizzle over the slice that you hand them. And that way they can get in more sweetness. And what I'd done earlier on when I was grating up my lemon and lime, by the way, get those unwaxed, okay? You don't want to be using the waxed lemons and then grating that wax into your cheesecake. We don't want to have that. So buy them unwaxed and then keep a little bit, when you're grating them, keep a little bit left over that you can then sprinkle on the top just for decorations because it looks pretty. And I've also got in here some desiccated coconut. So again, it's not part of the original recipe, but I just like how it looks. It looks pretty. You get the yellow and you get the white, and I think coconut as well. It's funny, I used to hate coconut as a child. I still wouldn't thank you now for a bounty, but I do like just desiccated coconut sprinkled on my fruit and my yogurt in the mornings. I find it has its own little bit of sweetness. Okay, that'll do us. So this, I'll just show you now with the big reveal. So this is how it turns out. Look at the fabulous color. And I'll pop this into the fridge now for 2 hours, and then I'll wrap it up and surprise Martin with it tomorrow. So, hope you enjoyed this. Play around with the recipe and let me know how you get on. Enjoy! Bye!